I want to show you the process of putting together what's called border art. This would be this black and white border that is built on this 8.5 by 11 page, and I've got my guidelines set so that I have 1-inch border all the way around with a 1-inch margin to the edge of the page. Now let's review what we're looking at here. This is the perfect page with the 3 palette groupings over here: palette, pathfinder, transparency, and layers in one, character, paragraph, and stroke in the other, and color swatches and gradient in the third one. And then the tools over here are set out with the 3 arrows visible, and some of the other tools that we're using a lot is on the tear out program set out here to customize the toolbox. Also remember that in my rulers, to get rulers, Command R puts the rulers there. I've taken this little square up in here with the black arrow and click on and drag this area out and touch it to the upper left corner of the page so that it starts from 0 and goes out here to 8.5, and starts from 0 here down to 11. Now, setting the guides carefully so that there's a 1-inch margin, and then another one, you click and drag a guideline out and put it here at 1 inch wide. So there's a 1-inch margin, then 1 inch wide. Same here, coming back 1 inch and then a guideline for the inch there. And then 1 inch down for setting this outline, and another inch to set the margin here. Now on the bottom, this is more than 1 inch, this area here. This is 1 1/4 inches. See, it starts at 11 and goes to 1 inch, but add 1 more quarter here, so that this margin here is somewhat greater than the left and the right and the top. And then this is another inch, and it starts here and goes 4 marks to the inch here. Now to get the center of this, it's easy. Half this page is 4 1/4 right here in this guideline. But this one is a little higher. It's a 1/4 inch higher because of that, raising this margin up. And the way to find this middle margin is to take a square here and come in on your anywhere here on the inside of your margin. See, I just made a rectangle there, and see where the center of mass anchor point is right here. Now if I've got that set right and that's set right, I just click and drag a guideline and put it right there on that middle, and it's finding the middle of this space even though it's a little higher than center in the page. Once that's been set, then just delete that, and you've got your guideline set here in the middle of this rectangle, not the middle of this page, because it's a 1/4 inch difference right there. Now the purpose of this thing is to be symmetrical and to make just one corner of this border. As you can see up here, I've got 1/4 of it made, and then what I do is I just copy it and flip it over here, and I have the meat here in the center. See how it's symmetrical here, and the meat in the center. And then I take the top 2 and flip them to the bottom, and they all join up, and everything is a concentric symmetrical border that is concentrated here, but now is moved over to the left side and then the bottom side. This is all built on the fact that I've got this black rectangle here, and I've made these circles here, and what I've done is I've copied this circle and brought them over here, and I've made them not a black but a red in color. And these are fills, they're not strokes. And I'll show you how I make these in a minute, but the principle here is I can take these things. Now watch, I'm going to get closer in here, coming very tight to this rectangle. And I'm going to turn the color off. Command Y turns the color off, and all you see is line. And Command Y again turns the color back on. But I'm turning the color off, Command Y, so you can see what I'm doing here. Now I sent this red circle. Now it is a circle. It's got an outline all the way around it. No stroke in the middle of the line. It's just outline on either side. I set that in the middle, and I'm going to grab these other ones that I've copied, and I'm just going to set them here. And even if they go out of the picture, that's okay. But I want them to overlap evenly. See, they're the same thickness, so I can see the overlap here, and I can put the overlap so that they're as if they were running into each other like train tracks on a circle, but they exactly overlap each other. And I can make a concentric pattern here. Maybe I'm just playing here with my pattern. I don't have anything particular in mind, but you can see that I've Oops, let's get that right down here. I'm seeing them out of color, and in this case I'm going to put two concentrics over each other and match those up. Now again, it remembers like the train track analogy, and I want these all to be the same thickness. Okay, now there's a pattern. These two are out and these two are in, well, these three are out. Command Y and back to color. Now, oh, this one is behind. I need to bring it to the front. You remember how to bring it to the front? Something that's behind in layers, Command Shift, right bracket. Do it with one hand with 3 fingers. And Command Shift, right bracket brings that to the front. Now these are in layers because we're not really concerned about layers very much, other than I need to see this in front. Now here's the principle of cutting out these patterns. If I take all of the circles and all of that black square and I put them together here, there's an interesting little punch out here in Pathfinder. It's called minus the front. Now the red is the front and the black is the back. So if I hold the Option key down, the command key, if I hold that down and click on this minus, look what happens to the red circles. They in fact disappear, and they're like a cookie cutter. They've just cut their red shapes into this black and have gone away. And so when I get through with it, then I have I'm going to back up in my zoom a little bit here. You can see I've got this shape left over. Now I'm seeing white through there. I'm seeing nothing through there. That isn't white, that's nothing. But in creating these images here, then, that's how we're doing that. We're setting our circles out in concentric sizes and shapes, and then we minus them using this minus button up here in Pathfinder, and they cookie cut and go away. And what I have left then is the black original shape with some holes punched in it. Now with that in mind, let's go over here and look at some other versions. Here's different forms of bubbles, if you want to call them that, and different shapes, different sizes, and how they're cut and put together, and some different things that can work out. Larger circles and smaller ones. Let's come here and say, all right, now let's build our own. And I've got some things pre-made here, but I'm going to show you how I made them. This L square is made from the guidelines. There's a center guide both ways, and then here's the margin. And I start here and I just go around. Let me show you how that's done. I'm going to delete this and then make another one. Now notice I'm working in the black fill. But if I take my pen tool and draw my straight lines, the fill is going to come on a little funny, so I'm going to go Command Y and go out of color. And everything's out of color. And then I'm going to come up here to where these guidelines are. This is the center guideline. Put my point right where they meet and click once. Now hold the Shift key down so that everything is a straight line and a right angle. And come out to the end here and click there. Now come down to the bottom and click here. Remember, see how I'm making this quarter piece? And as long as you hold the Shift key down, these are going to be perpendicular lines and right angles. Now when I come back here and the little zero shows up, that should be a straight line right there, all the way around. Now when I come back into color, Command Y, you can see that I've made a perfect L shape, and that's my shape there. Now, to get my circles here, I do what I make what I call an onion ring. This onion ring is it starts out, it's strokes. Let me zoom in on that and you can see what I've done. They are concentric circles, they're strokes. Now, the way that's what I call the onion ring is made is this way. I'm going to just delete all of them all together here and start the process. I'm going to go to my circle tool, and I'm going to make it right now a black stroke and no fill. And I'm going to come here where these guidelines cross so that I can be very accurate and make my first Shift key and Option key and make my first circle. Okay, there's a circle, and I'm going to make the weight over here under stroke. I'm also going to hit these center buttons and make it a round join and a round end cap. Although I don't see any end caps in a circle, and I don't see any joints in a circle. That's just habit so that they're rounded there. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click up 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5. I'm going up to 8. Okay, there's my stroke. You see that stroke line right in there. there's the stroke line. There's no outline here. It's just one line stroke, no two lines for outlines. And that stroke, I'm going to change that in a minute to a fill. But I want to get other circles here that are the same thickness, but different sizes. So I'm going to come back here again in the circle and click, get my cursor for my circle tool, shift and option, so it'll grow from the middle, and I'll grow another circle, and I'll come out to be not quite as big as the first circle. Now remember, it's still got that 8-point weight. So when I let go, bang, I've got an 8-point weight, 4 points on each side, second circle. Okay, now I'm going to do it again. Come back in here to the center and hold the shift and the option key down and click, and I'm just judging this, but I know it's going to get thicker, and I make the third one. Okay, that's as thick as, but smaller circle. I'll do it one more time to make the circle on the inside here. Line up my cursor at the cross lines, shift and option to make a circle grow from the center out, and voila. Well, the one last thing I'm going to do, deselect that, is to make a solid circle. And there, I'm going to go back to the stroke being the fill, and come in here. Now this time I'm not worried about the being two-sided. It's just going to be a circle, a black fill. All right, now we need to change all of these circles into not strokes but fill. And the way to do that is to select all these circles. I'm not worried about the inner circle because it is a circle. But I've selected with this marquee, I've selected all these outer circles, and I'm going to do this all at once, where we change a stroke to an outline. We go up to the object, because it is an object, come down to path, because we're going to change that path, that blue line, and we're going to say outline stroke, because the stroke is going to become an outline. Now watch over here with this thing, it's going to change from a stroke to a fill. Voila, see? Now it's a thick stroke, and each one of these circles now, it doesn't have a center line, it has an outline, and it's now a fill and not a stroke. So when we, I'm going to back out of here and look again. That's our onion ring. Now I've taken a copy and put it out here, and this is the stroke one, and I've changed it to a fill one, and I've changed the color to red too. I've selected all these and made it the red out of the swatches, this orangey red right here. I want to do that so I can see the difference. Now here I've taken my onion rings. This is the one we just built. I'm going to move that out of the way for a second. Here I've taken my onion rings from this group right here and separated them. Just get a hold of them and pull them apart. I'm going to leave those sitting there though so you see that, but here's my onion rings. Now remember how that border was cookie cut out of this. This is the black dough and this is the red cookie cutter. Now I'm going to just hold down the option key and take a copy of this, because I'm going to need several of these and I don't want to take away the original image. And I'm going to put this one so that it's kind of setting center right in here. Oops, it's in front or in back of. So grab hold of this black thing, because we made that recently. Command Shift left bracket, it puts it behind, and that behind all of this stuff here. Okay, so this first one, see how I put the center dot right here in the corner, so this circle is halfway around. Okay, now let's take a next biggest size and come over here and line it up so that it's halfway out of the circle, but touching, let's go halfway, but touching these two, like those railroad tracks. And let's take another one, again an option, and put it up here. And do the going out of bounds thing, but also the railroad track. And then take a smaller circle and use the option key and put it over here. So it's the railroad track thing is going on, but it's contained in the black. And we can take another one of these and put it down here. And have it still contained, but doing the railroad track. And then there's a medium-sized circle here. Let's put that right down here. Let's see, it's about as wide as the, let's have this come off the side here a little bit, but railroad track it. And then one more of these little circles down here. Now, I want to be in the black with this one, so I'm going to put that right there. Okay, let's take this dot and let's put these dots just inside and around, almost like eyeballs and a funny looking eye. and we'll just place these around, maybe put another one out here just in that corner. Okay, so there's our basic pattern of cuts. Now remember, it's going to be just in that black, and it's going to be white. Well, I'm going to cut away, and I'll see white behind it. So there's that. Now to save that, I'm just going to take all this piece right here and make a copy of it, Option key, and pull it out here and set it aside so that you can go back and look at that later. Also, I'm going to take my onion rings and move them out of the way here and put them over together. Not trying to get them really lined up. I'm just going to stack them back up, sort of onion ring like. Remember that when you start this job, and if you haven't done it, you're going to wish you had already, make sure your guidelines are locked. If you can't do the right click and make them show, go down to guides and make sure there's a check mark on that lock guides, or they're going to be moving around on you, and you don't want that. Okay, now here's this piece. I'm going to take this piece and select everything, and then I'm going to go up to Option, or I'm sorry, the Command key, the Apple key, the Command key, the big key on the side of each side of the spacebar. And I'm going to hold down that Command key, and I'm going to hit the minus the front, and voila, all the red punched a hole in the black and left. And I have my concentric circles here, and they're all sitting there like they ought to be. Okay. One other thing I might remind you of, I'm going to go back, Command Z, and do one other thing and check on this. Now you might want to take the time and make this work. I'm going to deselect this, and I'm going to come in very close on my little L-shaped thing there. Go out of color, Command Y, and then take my black arrow and check and make sure that all my railroad crossings here are working pretty good. This one could come down just an arrow key down, maybe right there. See, that's, now I have to move this one to get that to be just right on. And the accuracy portion of doing this pays off for itself when you have then you're satisfied that you're not having to bump over or too thick or too thin. And to take the time to come in and closely check that is a good idea. Now I'm going to color back in, Command Y, and I'm going to back up, Command 0 goes back and shows me the whole page. Then I'm going to go that trick again where I get the marquee and get the red and all the black, and the black's behind. Command key down and the minus button, bonk, and away they go. Okay, now I'm going to select all of these guys here and group them, Command G, so that they all stay together and they don't wander. Now here's all the hard work is now done. Making the border is pretty easy because it's going to involve this tool over here, the reflex tool, and I'm going to select my unit here and take that reflex tool and put it right here in the middle, right there in the center. Hold down the Option key to get this started. Click once. It brings up my reflex box, and you want that to be vertical 90. That's the default. And it always comes up vertical 90, and then you say copy. You don't okay that, or just one thing will flip. Copy, the original stays, and a new one plops in there. And it plops in, if you measure this right on. If there's a little gap there, you might want to close them down a little bit. Okay, now I take these top two. I take that reflex tool again, come back here to the center cross line here, hold down the Option key, click. Now this time I want it to flip not vertically, but horizontal. So I click horizontal, and I have to change this to 180 because it's going to flip all the way around, and I hit copy. You see the other one lines up, and I'm right on the mark here, so there's no white gap. Now if you have your circle here breaking that, it has to be symmetrically like halfway, so that the circle would be a halfway circle there. I haven't done that. I have these circles not meeting each other. But if I had worked this circle would be a little bigger and be halfway, then there'd be one circle here where they met. But you can see now I've got this border, and for whatever design you want to make and wherever you're going to go with this, I've got this border now. It's very symmetrical all the way around. This of course doesn't work if you don't want symmetry, but to make a quick border, a symmetrical quartered border, because you have 4 quarters, this is the way you make that work.